In today's video, I am going to talk to you about how you can actually get free coffee every single day. Now, this may seem like it's far-fetched and impossible, but believe me, it's not. Basically, you can invest your money to be able to make enough to buy you free coffee. Let me explain. So let's say at the age of 20 years old, we buy a coffee about 300 days of the year. And if we buy a large Tim Hortons coffee here in Canada, it's about $2. And of course, at that point, you could go to Starbucks and maybe spend $4. But we're going to say it's $2 because here in Canada, everyone buys Tim Hortons coffee. And for 300 days of the year, that's $600 that you would actually be spending on that coffee. Now, if you looked at that money, that $600 that you spent, if you invested it instead in a regular SPY or whatever and get an 8% return, that's actually worth around $14,000 by the time you're 60 years old. Now, at the same point in time, if we did this, and I'm talking about 300 days a year, I'm not talking about 365, let's say we take 2 months off of buying coffee. We now are spending a grand total over the 40 years, 20 years old until the age of 60, we've spent $24,000, but in total, technically, if we invested in it, it would have been worth $181,000 on average if we were to invest it into a broad market fund that averages 8% a year, something like SPY, VOO, or anything like that. Now, you're probably asking, well, what happens if I don't go out and buy coffee? What happens if I, say, 365 days a year and make my own? Well, we can actually calculate that. It's around 20 cents per cup. The average person in my mind would make 6 cups of coffee in the morning because, of course, a mug is sometimes bigger than a regular cup. And let's say we make, from scratch, around 6 cups of coffee per day. That is about $1.40 worth of coffee. If we did this over 365 days a year, that would actually equal out to be about $511. So we'll input the $511 and we will move this all the way down until we are at the age of 60 years old. In the grand total, we would actually have around $21,000 that we would have spent on coffee in 40 years, which would have equaled out to be about $155,000 if we invested it instead. Now, I'm not saying don't buy coffee. This would be a terrible idea. Everyone needs coffee to live, or at least most people like myself need coffee to live in the morning. So, what I am saying is that grand total is $21,000. Now, can we invest $21,000 today and use the dividends to buy coffee? Well, actually, we could. Now, to do this, we could buy Starbucks, which would be kind of ironic and funny at the same time. It's $115 per share, and it pays $1.80 per share per year, which is about 1.5%, which would mean that we would need around 360 shares of Starbucks to be able to do that. And at today's price, we would actually be at needing to have $41,000 invested in Starbucks, and that would then allow us to buy that coffee over that period of time. That's a lot of money. That's actually more money invested than you would have actually spent on coffee. But what about if we change this? What about if we go from a stock like Starbucks that pays $1.80 to something like maybe a TD that pays around 3.5% right now? And to be exactly on record, it's right now at 3.8%, paying around $3.16 per share. This means that we would need 162 shares of TD stock to be able to use the dividends to buy ourselves coffee. That now brings us to $15,500. Now, my question to you is, do we have $15,500, or let's call it $16,000 to invest in a stock to allow us to buy coffee forever? And that is the question. Some of you may not be able to, some of you can. However, what I would like to try and say is that $15,000 is a lot less than you would have spent on the coffee in the first place. And you're now getting that return of a dividend to pay for the coffee, and that underlying asset should grow. TD Bank and across the other banks generally grow around 9% per year. Of course, it depends. Some go 6% a year, but either way, your underlying asset is still growing. Meanwhile, you're getting that dividend to buy you coffee. So if you've got a coffee addiction, this may be a great way to be able to deal with it. This goes for really anything. It's not just for coffee. This could be your video game addiction as well, and really anything. So I hope that this video's kind of given you some ideas. If it has, hit that like button, subscribe. I know not everyone's going to be able to do something like this, but it was just a fun exercise that I thought I would make a video about. Anyways, I hope that you've enjoyed. I'll see you guys again next time.